try to say, hey, we're all part of the Western Hemisphere here. We're all part of something bigger. That did not land well, I don't think. And again, I was like kind of cringing at that, not because I disagree with the message, but because the delivery, it's almost like it's engineered not to be heard. And it makes me wonder whether the NFL are stoking culture war division on purpose because they're fucking billionaires. Why do they care about
Mm.
how the progressive left cares about ICE and is concerned about immigrants' rights and all that stuff?
Um,
Why are they kind of throwing a bone at that? I don't think they.
why do they care about why do they care about Colin Kaepernick? Why do they care about George Floyd? And why do why do they have players have end racism and it takes all of us in the end zone and all this? It's not about it's about the well, to use a I think overused term, but whitewashing. Um themselves whether they I mean, we know that most owners are not liberals. Um, there's some apolitical ones. There's a lot of conservatives, and I think there's some insecurity there where they feel like, hey, if we cloak ourselves in elements of liberalism, we can be protected from claims that uh, you know um that Colin Kaepernick made, like that the draft is essentially akin to,
Right.
slavery and a slave auction. And, and so it's kind of like I look at it kind of like I think of the fact that NGOs and all these nonprofits all from donations from during the whole, race riot, um, George Floyd Summer of Love, and the rise of Black Lives Matter. I look at it as similar than that, where we see all these companies sort of fall over themselves to sort of say, "Oh, we like black people, we love black people, we're going to shoehorn black people everywhere we can," and I look at it as sort of a same thing with gay culture and lesbian culture, where we see like no, we of course we like it. We don't just accept it and yeah, it's a part of, America. No, we're going to shoehorn it into everything we do all the time. This is I think the reflection of it all. It's like it's an overcompensation for the fact that the NFL is owned by a bunch of white billionaires for the most part. I think it's 30 of 32 white billionaires at and it's
And the Shad Khan, right?
yeah, Shad Khan.
Green Bay collectively,
Yeah,
cooperatively, or whatever owns
yeah,
the Packers, and then Shad Khan owns the Jaguars, and
yeah,
that's it.
absolutely. And like so I think it's an overcompensation. I do think there was a little bit of pressure, or at least over the last decade or so, from players. Um, but even there, if you look at the breakdown to voter
Do we know
registration,
whether
which only
players
tells you
Hugh?
so
Yeah,
much.
do we know whether players
Oh,
Hugh?
there was a
I don't
very
think.
interesting breakdown. There's a
Yeah,
very
well, my
interesting
guess is
breakdown that
they
I
Hugh
found on this.
conservative.
No, actually more independent.
Mm.
They're kind
But
of they're in my world, where and I noticed this from a lot of players who do post politically. It's very heterodox. The NBA skews way left.
sure.
The WNBA skews the most left. Um, uh, baseball and hockey are kind of in the middle.
Hmm.
Um, Players in the NFL are more, you know, I, about even Democrat, Republican with a ton of independents.
Interesting. See, that's interesting. That's super, super interesting. So you're touching on something we've talked about a lot that I find really fascinating, which is that corporations care about something that is not measurable strictly in financial terms. They often have these abstract desires. You talked about this with networks continuing their news, like their late night talk show divisions, even when those shows were like hemorrhaging money because it somehow mattered to them to have the prestige to be able to continue to put these shows on, this sort of cultural equity, maybe, right? And this is interesting because I'm not surprised at all that all the album press releases I get in my inbox use all this language and are totally putting LGBT front and center. Like they put it in the subject line. It's so overdone that it's not even stand out anymore. But when your constituents, when your primary consumer is not that, it's interesting to me that a league would still have this confusion about its identity. I mean, football is like, by its definition, it's militaristic. It's men submitting. This, I know I sound like I'm quoting Jason Whitlock here, but it's totally true. It's like men, these big, huge, powerful, incredibly strong men who could snap your neck like this, acting like little boys, following a head coach in lockstep. That's that mentality. It's like military flyovers, right? And then it's like, wait, but we care. Yeah, we want to go global. I think people who are emphasizing the fact, yeah, the NFL wants to go global. I think they're kind of missing the point. I think the people who programmed this, like Jay-Z, they were not unaware that it would be incredibly strike a nerve to have an all Spanish show other than Lady Gaga, right? I think like you cannot live in the United States and not be aware of the tension. And they, as usual, as people, they just like kind of blindly just went, fuck it, we're gonna shove our thing in your face whether you like it or not. Go and then they're like, okay, we're gonna go have our own show then. It's like, yeah, go do that kind of a thing. And it's just very sad to me because look, I know Bad Bunny is much younger, but if you can imagine a time when Bad Bunny and or Kid Rock and Bad Bunny would have been on the same bill and come out during each other's sets, you don't have to imagine a time. You and I lived in that fucking time, and it wasn't that long ago that that would have been the case. That none of this would have even been inserted so aggressively onto music, that there would have been just people just on the same bill. And I guarantee you, if Bad Bunny had been alive during Woodstock 94 or 99, all those fucking sunburned white boys would have been all over that shit, drinking it up. You know what I'm saying? Like they would have been like, yeah, this is great. I saw somebody on Reddit, a Latin guy, say, I love the show. I felt a little uncomfortable along the same lines as what I said. He goes, I don't know that I would have wanted Rammstein on there either. Now, I
Mhm.
saw Rammstein on the Korn Family Values tour, and the whole crowd was like, at first confused because it's all in German. And then after a while, you get into it. So that works in a certain setting, but not at the Super Bowl. It's like the message you're sending is you are beneath our contempt for us to even send you a message in the first place. And then, by the way, if you don't get the message, you're fucking racist. I, man, I wish we could correct this somehow. And I don't know if the train has left the station. I don't know if it's beyond hope at this point. And to factor in what you're saying, there aren't even without the political division, who are the stars that anybody in the supermarket recognizes at this point, other than Taylor Swift?
Okay, I want to pull like all three threads. All
You
right,
with
I'll let you.
Bad Bunny's
I'll let you
Bad Bunny's
choose the event.
tempo.
I'll let you choose the adventure. I could go more on the rationale of why they're doing this and why I think corporations do the things that I mentioned and you mentioned. Um, I could talk more about the stars or um yeah, I'll go with those two. Which one way would you want me to go? You're frozen. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kulkarni is frozen. I lost him. Okay. So until that gets settled, I'm going to go into a bit more of Kid Rock's response to all this.
What'd you think of Bad Bunny? I know you didn't see all of it, but you saw some clips.
Like most people, I didn't understand any of it. I mean, I saw there's a lot of dancers and a lot of big to-do stuff. And, he said he wanted to have a dance party. It looked like he had one. Not my cup of tea, but I don't fault that kid for, doing the Super Bowl, getting in front of a global audience. I fault I fault the NFL for putting him in that position, and Turning Point for having to come out and have an alternative for people to watch. It's just.
Yeah, and I think I think what he said there about Turning Point, about this being the NFL making this decision to that it's not on Bad Bunny. It's not bashing Bad Bunny at all. I'll play it one more time now that Saby's back.
What'd you think of Bad Bunny? I know you didn't see all of it, but you saw some clips.
Like most people, I didn't understand any of it. I mean, I saw there's a lot of dancers and a lot of big to-do stuff. And, he said he wanted to have a dance party. It looked like he had one. Not my cup of tea, but I don't fault that kid for, doing the Super Bowl, getting in front of a global audience. I fault the NFL for putting him in that position, and Turning Point for having to come out and have an alternative for people to watch. It's just poor kid.
I wouldn't necessarily call him poor kid. I mean, I think
I
I
know,
think
I know.
he benefited greatly from this spot. But what I would say is that he is speaking to one of the things I wanted to get toward, which is it, and you mentioned as well, it was the NFL that put him in that position, um, and this weirdness of giant entities choosing to be culture war pawns.
Mhm.
And I if I know some of it was incentivized. I know that. Um just thinking macroly about why companies do this. Um I know there's this thing called ESG,